Hi, welcome back to Women of the World's Religions, Women of the World Unite. I am Dale Allen. Today I am very pleased to share Aina-Nia Ayo'dele. This interview series emerged out of the first ever Women's Village at the Parliament of the World's Religions, where I had an opportunity to sit with women from all cultures around the world, all faiths and spiritual practices from around the world. And one thing I know for certain is that with all of these differences and beautiful diversity, one thing's for certain, the heart of woman beats as one. So I encourage you to find your place among these women who are putting their faith in action. The women are activated and their love cannot be stopped. Aina-Nia Ayo'dele is a transformative leader and change maker. She is CEO and principal of Aina-Nia Learning Journey, Inc., and is unapologetically on a mission to influence institutions and individuals to create bold and meaningful change through a decolonized approach to leadership. Aina-Nia is offering a very special gift to those who are watching this interview series. She's offering her beautiful book, Self, An Inner Journey to Remembering Your Power. She is also offering a free 30-minute breakthrough leadership coaching session. So these are wonderful gifts from Aina-Nia Ayo'dele, and all you have to do is send an email to the email address that you see on screen right now. Now, if you're enjoying this interview series, please be sure to subscribe. Subscribing is important because it helps me to share these women. Thank you so very much for your support.
So it's critical that you are a part of this because you were such an important part, an integral part of the first ever Women's Village at the Parliament of the World's Religions. And what you brought there, all of that energy, knowledge, wisdom, ancient wisdom coming through you today in blood and bone and speech and energy was really powerful. I have some beautiful images of you as you went through collecting the water at the water ceremony. It's important that the story be told about what happened at the first ever Women's Village and what happened with the water ceremony. What I will do is, just as I did for all of the amazing, amazing women that came into my interview suite, which was really a power spot inside the Women's Village. It was amazing. Because when you speak with a woman and you ask her to share from her sense of her spirituality, of her faith, her spiritual practice, you're getting right to the core of things, right?
Yeah.
To the core of things. So my question to you is, Aina-Nia, what is your faith, your spiritual practice, your religion? And that's however you want to answer that.
I'm an Ifa priest. So I am a priest of Ifa, which is a Yoruba tradition, West African. And I'm also initiated in Akan. So my practices, my spiritual practices, I don't have a religion, but my spiritual practices are grounded in African spirituality. And specifically, I'm trained in and initiated in both Akan and Yoruba. So that's what I bring to my experiences. However, I have been walking this journey for almost 20 years. Since 2009, I have been chanting when I wake up in the morning, Om Namah Shivaya, right? So that's a Hindu practice. I always say that I learned how to pray through Islam, yeah, because of the dedication to prayer and specific prayers, the ritual of praying 5 times per day. So in my spiritual experiences, and I'm very engaged in the indigenous practices of Turtle Island. And so my spiritual practices often sometimes look like a nice little mixed bag. It's a nice mixed bag because our practices, and indigenous practices in particular, are very similar, right? Very, very similar. Our numerology, where we're talking about numerology, or we're talking about the elements that we use, the natural element, they're all very similar. So I would say the short answer would be that I'm grounded in African spirituality, and I absolutely engage other indigenous practices and ancient wisdoms.
That's beautiful. I also find it very inspiring to hear an answer like yours, because it's this beautiful openness of your spirit to the many traditions and the many gifts that they have. And then this comes through you. And I spent time with you. I was with you in the parliament. So I have experienced your energy field. And it's palpable and really lovely. So I appreciate that that's an inspiring answer, because I think that kind of openness to the wisdom of various practices is very valuable and will be valuable for listeners. Thank you for sharing that. Based on your spiritual orientation, how are you informed toward the Parliament's themes of, there were a few of them, a call to conscience, uplifting the human rights and dignity of women, and also caring for the next generations of children? And those feel to me, I'm just going to kind of put them all together for you to answer as you are called to.
I think those are perfect. There are 7 core tenets that I use in my practice and that I teach, and they come out of African spiritual practices. And so those 3 things encompass them. So in our practice, we say that before anything else is spirit, the ancestors, elders, and children, before all things. And so anytime we're walking and those are not priorities for us, we need to pause. So that's for me, that just makes complete sense. And then another tenet that relates is that we do not harm nature. So we take care of nature. As a practitioner, as a leader, as a priest, I would be in violation of the laws if I wasn't taking care of our environment, if I wasn't respecting nature, if I wasn't concerned and doing and contributing in some way to what's going on with our environment. So it's just part of who we are, for sure. And then when we talk about women and humanity, let's just talk about humanity. My service to the world is my rent that I pay to be on this planet as a human being, period. So if nobody ever dropped $1 in my account as a payment, my service is paying rent for here anyway, just to be walking on this planet, right? So a conscience, to have conscience for the freedom of humankind is innate, it's natural, it's what we're called to be. It's the reason we walk this planet. And then when we talk about women, oh my goodness, as a matter of fact, right now, in this moment, there is a ceremony happening on my behalf in the hills of Nigeria for what we call Ifami. Ifami is the mothers of the universe. It's all of the mothers. It's the great mothers. It's the mothers of the water, the mothers of the earth. And so tomorrow I will spend time in my own ceremony for Ifayimi, right? For Ifami. So in our practice, the woman is the first. There is nothing else. You can't start anything. The woman is the first. So I think often about if there are very few things that upset me, but the violation of women is one of them. I have no tolerance. I just don't, right? And so because when we violate womankind, and as a feminist, I'm always trying to support women in understanding that they do not have to be male identified, period. Because we have so much power just because we have this vagina. So we are so powerful. We are the first. We are the leader. We are matriarch. It was colonization. It was the colonizers who shifted that. Patriarchy came out of colonialism. This idea, and even in my practice as a Yoruba priest, there were lots of things when I just started on this journey, and probably for many of you, for many of us. And there are many things that I learned that was very westernized, right? And as I have chosen to really learn from the East and seep into that, I learned that, oh my goodness, even in our practice that was brought over, and we had to shift it because of enslavement, but even so, even in our human rights activism, we also took on a patriarchal way, right? We took on patriarchal modalities. And so that shifted us. And so even in the deepest African spiritual practices, you will often see a patriarchy its eyes just there, right? And that is not in accordance with the laws. That is not in accordance with the laws. We are the beginning. We are the beginning. So the parliament, all of those themes, in fact, are very much in alignment with my practices, my spiritual way of being, the things that I follow. So, yeah, good for them.
Yes, I would say for certain from witnessing you at the Parliament that your spiritual practices are surely in action and fully in alignment. Can you tell me, please, about the magnificent water ceremony that drew a huge crowd of souls into the women's village, and the level of connection and reverence in that space was, again, something very, very palpable. The women had been instructed beforehand to bring water from their native lands. I did as well. And I did it with great ceremony with my daughter. We stood in the waters that we love, and first we gave great praise and thanks to Long Island Sound that's here. It was very moving for both of us. And I brought that water out there. And please tell me about the water ceremony, Aina-Nia.
So as African people, we are water people. You know, I would say when we talk about Turtle Island, we talk about the indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, they're often fire people. And for us, we are water and plant people. We're healers, right? And we heal often with plants. And so the water is very significant for me, and for my tradition. And so, and especially when we're talking about women, and we understand what water means and the emotions of water and the emotions of women. So that's really significant. So that's one thing, because we're women. But the other piece is around, I felt for me, it was paying homage to the climate, you know, paying homage to the mothers of the water, paying homage to making them know that there are descendants who respect and honor them, right? They're living beings. There are two-legged beings that respect and honor them. And so the water was very, very symbolic. You know, the fact that you and your daughter went and stood in it and talked to it and prayed with it, and then took some of it, because the fact that you prayed, it means that you asked permission, and took some of it into the village, and for all of us then to share in this one bowl. Magnificent, right? See, I'm getting a chance to process, but I'm not. For all of us then to bring and pour that water into one thing. We're saying that we're one. We're saying that we're one. I know the symbol of that water looks, if we were, you and I, if we could not see each other right now and nobody could see us, this Black woman and this white woman, right? This gray hair blonde person and this blonde person, right? If nobody could see us and the water was all that was representing us, then it says to me that we have agreed that in truth we're one. In truth we resemble, and in truth we're on this path, right? So all of us put into this vessel who we are. No distinction, nobody changing, no color, no gender, no pronouns, let's say, no status, no economic, no educational, no status, just these women putting themselves in this vessel. And then to peruse the prayers of our individual prayers and then our collective prayers, to have us pray for what was going on in Hawaii, to have us pray for what's going on in Haiti, to have us pray for the illnesses that is happening, to others of us pray for the water. I believe that every prayer for the water is helping us, because the climate will survive. It is us that we're praying to make it through this, right? And so the symbol of the water and the symbol of all of us coming together, women sitting on the floor, women standing, women sitting on the chair, older women, younger women, baby, like, and then because the men started to come in, and I said, you can come, just hold space. You just have to stay on the outs, right? And then to have the energy of the men, I saw about 4 men. To have the energy of the men then holding that, and then to take all of that, Dale, into the beginning of the assembly. There are so many stories and lessons, and there were elders that didn't speak English, that there were elders that spoke that I didn't understand, but I could feel that.
Yes. Me too. I was there inside the women's village as the water was collected, and I felt the love of each woman for the water she was contributing. And I knew as that water was being poured that they had had a similar experience as my daughter and I did when we took the water so mindfully and brought it. I was there when the parade went from the women's village all the way through the hallway, up the escalator, through the main hall, and then into the big room of the women's assembly. And it was quite a presence, a beautiful presence of the women marching through the Parliament of the World's Religions, led by you and others on the Women's Task Force, and this water, being brought. It was amazing. Tell me then about on the banks of the river there, just behind the McCormick Center. And this is the part that I missed because of my film In Our Right Minds being shown. Tell me about that part of it.
Yeah, so that part was really, really important. And when we were planning it, I said to Sandy, we cannot be on Yemiya's banks and not give her back her water, right? And so and we have to do it in ceremony. So that was a very important piece, very, very important. And to see people come from everywhere. I mean, the geese, the wing animals, the two-legged animals, like every being was just celebrating with us on that water bank. It was quite powerful. And then we got to pray again. And then we got to pray again with people from different traditions, Tibetans, Muslims, Christian, Yoruba, Santeria. Like, it was just profound. Judaism, it was just profound because we thought, okay, it's done. And we're just, a few of us are going to go to the what? No, it was not that. It was yet another huge, huge gathering and ceremony and acknowledgement. So, wow. It was powerful. It was important to give back and to go to the mothers of the water and thank them for holding us and for holding space for us and for how they nourish us even in our missteps, and to let them know that we honor them. And so we did that, and then we left some water in and poured it in that fountain. It was really interesting. People wanted a little bit of that water, people wanted a little. I just thought that was so telling, that people wanted to carry back a piece of this experience with them,
Yes.
So
Yes, they did. They did. That water was carrying and continues to carry a very profound frequency. I agree with you that it was extremely satisfying to be in a group of people represented from around the world, different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, and that sense of unity was absolutely exquisite. Aina-Nia, where can people find you? What is it that you offer to people that they can partake of your wisdom? Just tell me more about how people can connect with you.
Much of the work that I do is, believe it or not, with institutional leaders. I'm committed to show leaders who are in mainstream environments and other places that there is success that can be had in a decolonized way of leading. There is success that can be had when we get to the soul, when we, to decolonize is to humanize. So when we become humans again, and there's so many places that we can see where we started to dehumanize ourselves. The slave trade is just one of them, but many, many, many ways, the way women are treated, what is happening right now across the world. What is that? So a lot of my work is working with institutions and working with leaders who are in the institution, but also a core part of my work is the sacred leaders training that I've been doing for women for now. We're going into our 14th year, where I take women who are leading through a 10-month process, and we get deep and dirty. And I've been told that it's a boot camp, a spiritual boot camp, but really just helping us to get back to ourselves and remembering ourselves. My book is always available. It's called Self: An Inner Journey to Remembering Your Power. And that book has been used by a mother and daughter just wrote me. They're using the book together for their own healing, their relationship together. Partners, husband and wife, different romantic partners. My partner and I have used it. I go to the book all the time. I'm a leadership coach, so I'm always teaching and I'm always leading, but it's easy to get to me. I'm on most of the social media platforms. And the simplest way to get to me is a conversation. I still make sure that I allow space and time for these conversations because they're important.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree. I'm so pleased to have had a chance to meet you. So pleased to have been able to moderate the panel that you were on with Phyllis and Jean Shinoda Boland. And that was amazing as well.
I appreciate it. I do want to tell you though, that panel, your facilitation was really profound. I have gotten notes from folks that told me they learned so much. My family members never say anything about my work, but because they were able to hear from 3 different women at 3 different points and 3 different ways, right? And so when you kind of put all of those thoughts together, I think we were able to, through your facilitation, we were able to make sense for people.
Thank
And
you.
so I appreciate that.
In a future episode, I'll be sharing a recording of this panel.
I look forward to our paths spiraling together again, and thank you for the work you're doing. We're all benefiting. Thank you.
Woman, shine.